All right, guys, welcome back to the Edson Show. In today's episode of Reality is Stranger Than Fiction, we're talking about the voter ID debate that CNN tried to turn into yet another racial controversy. First, we're going to watch as Scott Jennings asks a very simple question that nobody on the CNN panel seems ready to answer. If voter ID is racist, what voting right is actually being taken away? Then we're going to hear from Congressman Wesley Hunt of Texas, who gave one of the clearest responses I've heard on why comparing voter ID to Jim Crow is not just wrong, it's offensive to the people who actually lived through Jim Crow. After that, we're going to take a quick walk through history and ask the questions a lot of people are afraid to ask: who really did it? And then at the end of the show, we're bringing back Let's Talk About It, where we'll read one of your comments and respond to it live. But first, let's start with CNN, where Scott Jennings stood his ground as the panel tried to turn the voter ID into yet again racism. Watch this.
What voting rights is he taking away from black voters?
Oh, if we look at
the SAVE Act?
The SAVE Act, that's exactly what we're talking about.
How?
That is
How
actually going to continue to
How?
disenfranchise
How?
overwhelmingly a lot of people of color.
How?
There are so many civil rights organizations that have run the data. If we look at the way that it is going to disenfranchise black voters, it's the same reason why Chuck Schumer called
How?
it Jim Crow 2.0.
So,
this is the same president.
how?
If we want to
You
continue...
haven't said how yet.
I am talking about it. It's
How?
the way that you're putting new poll taxes on this when you're making
Poll
people
taxes?
have... That's what we can call them now. It's kind of an idiom, right? If you want to say that people have to prove that they are citizens, that they have to prove with a voter ID, the reality is you're layering what is a constitutional right for the American people and making it harder for people to vote in this country, and it's going to disenfranchise black voters.
Yeah, let me pause right there before Scott has an answer for her, right? So, like, Scott's asking a simple question: how is this? Now, if you know how, guys, please write it down in the comment. Please let me know how black people aren't able to vote now. Like, come on. And then what she says, she tries to spin it into a tax. You know, she just creates, it's a poll tax. Like, now you're being taxed in order to go vote. Like, these people they create this narrative. That's all they do. I really wish people would really start watching this with an open mind. Like, I hope you watch this and you can see right through it. Because Scott asked a very simple question. She's unable to answer it, and listen to what Scott has to say.
Concern you that you're making all these claims? You've yet to lay out how it's hurting anyone, but 76% of black voters think we should show an ID to vote. 80% of Hispanic voters, 83% of the American people. Are you saying that black voters
the
are
SAVE
too
Act
dumb to know what's good for them? I mean,
the
it
SAVE Act
sounds
isn't
pretty,
just about
it sounds pretty condescending
that's
to me.
That's
Three-quarters of black voters
That's not
who want
right.
voter ID.
Just to be clear, the SAVE Act
that's
is not
putting words
just about
in my mouth.
ideas. The SAVE Act is about
here they come.
of citizenship.
So what?
So it doesn't.
It also makes it very hard for married women who've changed
I was just going to say, we've
This is
talked
all
about
young
this
people,
before.
by the way.
It's not. It actually, there's an argument to be made that
Married women,
red state voters, women, poor white voters could be just as.
I know, you think they're dumb too, don't you?
Young
I mean,
voters.
that's the thing.
Nobody
I
thinks
hear
they're
these
dumb.
arguments. I've heard Democrats all
Hold on,
week long.
Scott.
No,
Please don't. No. You listen.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, guys. That was freaking awesome. Here comes Abby. She is extremely upset. You do not say that. So Scott says that, you guys are saying black people are dumb. Oh, you guys are saying white people, Southern people, everybody's too dumb. And did you hear that one lady? She was like, yeah, when you get married, then you have to go get like your marriage certificate. What are you guys talking about? Yeah, we've always had to do that. You know something I've actually been pondering, right? Is you guys let me know what you think. Voter ID, right? And you have to prove your citizenship. Is there any difference than the real ID? You literally have to prove you're a citizen of the United States in order to get onto a plane, but it's racist, too difficult. No, all these poor people, they're not going to be able to figure it out. That's racist. Well, come on, guys. How come you're not talking about the real ID? How come you're not bringing that up? Aren't we going to start saying how it's racist for black people to not be able, they can't get on planes now? Come on, guys. Okay, Abby, you're upset. Tell us what you're upset about.
There's a deflection from talking about Donald Trump's racism.
I'm actually
there.
You should be thinking about your constituents or your
Yeah, I think they're smart enough to figure out how to
colleagues in
register to
Kentucky.
vote, Abby.
Hold on. Most Americans don't have a passport. Many Americans don't have access to their birth certificate. Many women, a majority of women who change their names for marriage have to provide additional proof that they've changed their legal names in order to register to vote.
I have heard Democrats
Scott, why
make
don't
these
you
same
actually
arguments.
respond to the substance of what I'm saying?
I am, and
as
the substance
opposed
is
to making this about something that it's not.
You're saying
it's not just
you're
about
saying
voter ID.
married
It's
women,
also about
black
who has
voters,
access
and rural people are too stupid to figure out how to
Excuse
register to
me?
vote.
No, that's not.
that is not
Democrats have been making this argument all
so
along.
offensive.
That is not
There you
what
go,
she
Scott.
said.
That's so
You're saying
offensive.
they can't figure
Oh
out
my
how to
God.
vote.
Let me offer
I
the
Are you
proof.
saying they can't
This
figure
is
out how to
the
vote?
exact
I'm
same
just saying it is
argument.
a fact that a majority of Americans do not have passports. Many Americans, including white people, do not have their original birth certificate or access to it.
You didn't say what you said. Rural
I
white
would
people.
love to offer the proof on this.
Yeah, because that is also relevant. It doesn't matter to me where people
I guess
live.
I have a little more faith in
Do they have
rural
access?
America and married women than you do.
Look, I don't know
You're saying
why,
they can't
I
figure
don't
out
know
how to
why
vote?
you think
What
why
is
you're
going
making
on
this
here?
about whether you're smart or not.
You're saying that they can't vote, that they
access to
can't figure out how to
Scott,
document to register to vote?
Access to documentation of proof of where you were born or proof of citizenship is an additional thing that people
Because
will
at
have
one point,
to do.
black
such a
people
barrier.
actually
She
weren't even
describes it as a
allowed
barrier
to
to vote.
It's a barrier.
It is a barrier.
This
Scott,
is
do you have
exactly.
your original birth certificate?
Yes.
Okay.
But at
This
one
is-
point, black
Does
people are not
everybody
even
that
allowed
you know
to
have their
birth
original
certificates
birth
in this country.
certificate?
Everybody that I know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
But I know where mine is, and I know where my kids are.
There are elderly people in this country who are 80 years old, and they haven't seen their original birth certificate in decades. They would need to provide
this is
proof of
fear-mongering.
citizenship in
This
It
order
is not fear-mongering at all. It's not
That's
fear-mongering
that's
at all.
just a reality.
It's not fear-mongering
And
at all.
listen,
100%.
Jim Crow
Here's how-
2.0.
Scott.
They say that about the Georgia
It
law,
is-
and what happened? Voter participation
Scott,
went
The
up.
fact
in
that you won't
Georgia.
answer why you still
policy-
support
You hear that? You hear what Scott said? They used the same technique in the Georgia vote, and the voter count went up. Right? Come on, guys. Come on. You guys, it is 100% fear-mongering, guys. You can still vote. Nobody says that you can't vote. You can still drive down, get a ballot in the mail. You know, right now we still have ballot in the mail. All that. I mean, at least where I live. I don't know, man. To me, you know, I like how Abby keeps trying to just change it, right? First it was like, oh, you know, black people, it's racist. And then as she's getting called out on stuff, she's like, well, no, it's rural America. No. It's 80-year-old people. Like, you know, she's just trying to, she's trying to make her point by just grabbing for something. You know, that's just what I feel. You let me know how you feel. Do you feel like that? Or do you feel she's making a legitimate point? Anyways, let's continue here.
Hold on. Here's
Racist
how
precedent
policy is
is
supposed to
actually
work in this country.
the problem.
And by the
You
way,
have a proposal, you look at the impacts of it, and you decide whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing to do. I think it is perfectly fair, whether you think that it disproportionately affects people of color or not, to ask the question, will a majority of Americans who want to be able to vote be able to access the documents that they would need
Yes, I
in
think
order
yes.
to prove
Clearly,
But
citizenship?
yes.
Abby, you're asking
That's
the
your
underlying
view, but I'm
question,
saying
which is
people have
impact.
raised questions about
The reason that it works this way is impact. You mentioned Jim Crow 2.0.
No, I didn't. Schumer, that's what
you
Schumer
just
called
said the words Jim Crow 2.0, so I'm going to put it right here at the moment.
In your mouth.
And that is
Yeah.
exactly the way that Jim Crow 1.0 was born. They took laws.
Democrats were wily back then.
I will finish. They took laws that were operational in the North, and they said these work on by the
He said Democrats. You know, I don't know if you caught that, but what he said, and that's why at the end here, we're gonna do a quick history lesson, and you may actually be kind of shocked, maybe not. We'll see. I guess it depends where you lean, but we'll see. Let's continue. This man right here, he's
in the letter, but we're going to disrupt the spirit. They're going to take these laws and use them on black people in the South to disenfranchise them, and that was the effect.
Everyone, thank you very much. We will be back in just a moment.
Man. You know what, guys? I think the black people, hey, 76% of black people want voter ID, but we're not talking about that. We're not talking about, it's not really that big of an issue, right? 76%. If this is a democracy, 50, what is it? 50% and more wins. Well, 76, 78%. We clearly can see what the numbers show. We can clearly see what people want. We clearly see that you have to go and get a real ID to get on a plane now, and nobody is talking about how that is somehow racist. But voter ID, that's racist. Jim Crow 2.0. So with that, with that young black man talking about Jim Crow 2.0, I think this would be a good time to go over to Congressman Wesley Hunt of Texas, right? He gives one of the clearest responses on why comparing voter ID to Jim Crow it's really not just wrong. It is seriously, it's offensive to the people who actually lived through Jim Crow.
My own father, who grew up in a segregated South in New Orleans, had to walk around to the back of a restaurant just to order a sandwich in the French quarters of New Orleans because of the color of his skin. That was Jim Crow. And that is precisely why it is so offensive to compare that era of legalized discrimination and racial terror to showing a photo ID in a voting booth. And it's just as offensive when groups and organizations like these manufacture faux hate and racial tension. Requiring identification to vote is not oppression. It is not segregation. It is not racism. It is a basic standard that applies equally to every single American citizen, regardless of what you look like. You need an ID to board a plane. You need an ID to cash a check. You need an ID to buy alcohol. You need an ID to enter these very federal buildings. And by the way, attaining an ID in this country is an extremely low bar. But somehow showing an ID to vote in America is now considered to be Jim Crow 2.0. This is not about civil rights. This is about political theater. And the Democrat Party survives on manufacturing grievance. Democrats invoke the pain of the past because they have nothing to offer for the present. They don't want an honest debate. They want emotional manipulation. They want outrage. They want division, as evidenced by our discussion in this very hearing today. They want Americans to fight each other because chaos is politically useful to them. Words like racism and white supremacy and Jim Crow 2.0. For the purposes of elucidating my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, let's take a hard look at what real Jim Crow was. Check out this one behind.
Wesley Hunt of Texas just put the smackdown on this entire thing. Like, go back and listen to it again. It was so good. He literally understands, and this is just the truth. The Democratic Party creates these divisions by hanging on to racism and hate and things like that don't exist the way they used to exist. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist today, but it does not exist the way they are trying to sell it to you.
You see, this is Jim Crow. This is what Democrats call Jim Crow. Next slide, please. See, that is Jim Crow. For whatever reason, this is what Democrats call Jim Crow. Next slide, please. That is Jim Crow.
Look at that.
This is what Democrats call Jim Crow. I know that some of these images can seem to be very jarring to many of us that haven't experienced that over the course of the past 40 years of my lifetime. I never saw these things. I never experienced them personally, but I have family members who have and who did. And that's why it is extraordinarily important for us to be very, very careful with what we compare to Jim Crow, because this country has come a very, very long way. I keep saying this over and over and over and over again till I am blue in the face. I represent a white majority district along with 3 of my other black colleagues here in Congress. And you know what? Nobody cares about what we look like. We are being judged not by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character, because we've come a long way from this. I don't want to go back to that. In fact, I want to continue on the path that America has set forward in the name of Jesus Christ. And I want to let people know that we don't need to be angry. We don't need to be divided. We want equality for everyone. Let me be crystal clear. This is not 1960 anymore. It's 2026. And the fact that groups like these are willing to stroke the flames of hate by funding the KKK is absurd.
Boom.
With that, I yield back the remainder of my time. Thank you for being here.
Wow, he hit it on the spot, man. This guy should be all over mainstream media. It's all BS, guys. They sell it to you to create division and to create hate. We've come so far from Jim Crow. We are not in Jim Crow 2.0. We're nowhere close to it. It's absolutely ridiculous. But like Mr. Hunt said at the very end, I don't know if you mentioned, he mentioned something about Democrats and the KKK, right? And so that, I was actually like, I wonder who's actually responsible for certain things throughout history. And that's when I went and did a little bit of research, and I want to show you guys this. You let me know what you think about this right here. All right, so here is a quick history. Who really did it? Wanted to keep slavery? Southern Democrats. Opposed Lincoln? We all know what happened to Lincoln. Southern Democrats. Led the Confederacy? Pro-slavery Southern Democrats. Founded the KKK? Former Confederates, but the Confederates were the Southern Democrats. Interesting. Defended segregation, Southern Democrats. Enforced Jim Crow law. You guessed it, guys. The Southern Democrats. Ordered internment camps, FDR, he was a Democrat. So it wasn't the Southern Democrats, it wasn't the Democratic Party, it was just the leader of the Democratic Party at the time. Okay, so with that, let's head over to Let's Talk About It, where MDK42074 says, God, I can't believe people would vote for her. I live in Portland. We now have armed guards at 7-Eleven stores. All people do in Portland is blank about how bad Portland has become, but then they go vote for the same people. It's almost like people vote for blank so they can bank and complain about it, how bad life is. You know what, man? I got to tell you, I actually did live in Portland. I actually grew up, I don't know if you know where Hood River is at, but I grew up in Hood River and then moved down to Portland. And that was like the early 2000s, right? And in 2015, I actually did Uber for a little bit. And when I did Uber at the time, Portland was beautiful. You could go down to the Saturday market down there by the waterfront, and they had the little fountain there. You know, there was some homeless, but not much, and the homeless kind of just stayed to themselves, right? And yeah, 10 years later, Portland does not look the same. You know, I didn't live in Portland. I actually lived up in Beaverton, but I just saw how bad Portland got. And you're right. Like, how do people continue to vote for these people in? Like if you're watching this video right now and you vote Democrat every time, doesn't matter because they've told you to vote Democrat every single time. The question I have is, what has it done for your life? For the last 50 years, they've been trying to fix racism. They always say it's never has been fixed, right? The homeless, like, look at everything. Look at your taxes, right? All the millionaires and billionaires are leaving your states, and now they're telling you that they got to raise your taxes in order to run the state. You know, I just wish people, you know, like he said, man, I really wish people would think for themselves before they went out to the ballot box and just circled it because that's who they're told to vote for. That needs to change, and I really hope it does. Okay, so before I let you go, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, like the video. You know what? If you didn't like the video, but you made it all the way to here, click I didn't like the video, but I hope you did.